Hey everybody, Nate Stewart, El Gringo Criollo, coming to you here from an undisclosed secret favorite spot of mine. Wanted to make a quick video to talk about what's in an interest rate, right? Because one of the main questions we get is loan officers and mortgage brokers. People call in asking all the time, what do rates look like? What rate can you get me? That's cool. It makes a lot of sense why borrowers and clients would call in and ask that question. But that's akin to calling up a restaurant and just saying, I don't want to tell you anything about me. Just tell me what's for dinner tonight. It's like, depends, right? Like a lot of variables. I can read the whole menu to you. Is that what you'd like? It's similar situation because a lot of things get built into an interest rate. Number one, the biggest one that everybody's going to be aware of is credit score, because an interest rate is obviously it's the cost of borrowing money, right? But it's also important to keep in mind that an interest rate is a reflection of how much risk a lender sees in your given situation. And so the more risk, the more expensive it's going to be for you to borrow that money, and the higher your interest rate is going to be. So if you have a credit score that's like up in the 800s, you're going to be considered a lower risk borrower, and so you're going to have access to better interest rates. A quick note there, sometimes people will call in and say, I just checked Credit Karma, says my score is like 800 something, and now, when you guys reviewed my credit, you're telling me it's a lower number. That's because mortgage lenders tend to use different scoring algorithms than like credit card companies or somebody doing a car loan. It's a different scoring algorithm because it's a different type of loan situation. And so it is going to see a slightly different rate. It's usually actually a more conservative credit score, and credit is a moving target, right? Your score 1 month can be one thing, and you pay off some cards, or you start a new card, or make a payment here or there. So it's constantly going and moving around. And when we review your credit, it's like taking a snapshot of a moment. Another thing to keep in mind with credit score is that so long as you're north of 740, you are in the best category for interest rates. You can have a credit score of 850, 8,000, imaginary credit score, super high, great, well done for you. But so long as you're north of 740, that's the best category to be in. You're going to have access to the best rates. Every increment of 20 points you go down from 740, your rates are going to get a little higher and a little higher and a little higher. So that's kind of a little bit about how interest rates and credit scores are related. Next big factor that's going to influence your rate is going to be what's the subject property going to be used for. If it's going to be your primary home, you're going to see better rates than if it's going to be a second home or investment property. That's because, back to the same idea, a lender sees less risk in lending somebody money for their primary home because they know it's their home. They have a big incentive to make those payments in full and on time versus somebody that's like, oh, that's my vacation home. If I have to skimp on money, if money gets tight, they might, be late on a payment for a second home versus if it's their real home. And so for that reason, you're going to see higher rates, a little bit higher rates if it's a second home or investment property. Another big factor that's going to influence your rate is going to be the type of property. So for example, imagine a scenario where it's the same potential borrower, same credit score, same everything, except the only difference is whether it's a single family home that's like detached or a condo. Condos are going to see a little bit higher rate than a single family home. That's just a fact of the matter. Honestly, not sure. Perhaps one of you guys can put a comment down below to educate me on why is a condo considered more risk. But that's the fact of the matter. Other factor that's going to influence your interest rate is going to be the specific location of the property, right? So it can come all the way down to zip code. One zip code can see one rate versus if you just change the zip code, you're going to see a slight bump to the rate. That could happen. So, and that's because lenders know that, okay, well, this zip code might be more subject to flooding. This zip code might be more subject to like hurricanes or other natural disasters. And so they're going to factor, again, it's how much risk does a lender see in a given scenario. And so they're going to build that into the rate. Okay, so now you want to know exactly what rate you have available to you. So how do we do that? It's simple, okay? Simple, it's painless, and it's free. All you got to do is click the link in the description, fill in the answers to those questions, and we will do a free financial analysis for you and tell you exactly what rate you're going to have access to. And it's going to be based on the specifics of your scenario. Because, we can tell you a number on the phone, like, look, it's likely to be this, or this number, or that number, or whatever. But what we should care about is what's the actual interest rate going to be at closing and for 30 years, right? That's what we're going to care about the most. And so you know, we can spitball numbers, and if you don't want to, you know, give over information, well, that's understandable. But you know, you really got to really know what specific interest rates you're going to have access to. It's best to just like go through those steps. Plus, we'll be able to tell you, okay, if you do this or this, you know, if you bring this much more money, or, you know, if you look for this slightly different property over here, well, that's going to help your rate, and that's going to lower your monthly payment. And so, and that's the other thing, right, is that credit scores essentially matter towards the monthly payment that you're going to be making. And so sometimes I've seen clients be like, they're super sensitive about the rate, super sensitive, but then they find a subject property that they fall in love with where the property taxes are like out the roof. And it's like, well, you know, you wheeled and dealed on your rate as much as you could, but then you ended up hurting yourself in terms of your monthly payment because you went over here and you know, your property taxes are super high. So you know, something to keep in mind. The name of the game is, what's the monthly payment going to be like, and that's going to be related to all these other factors that we've talked about, plus some others. And so if you got any questions or you want some more information, let me know. Please reach out. Happy to help anybody in any situation, and anywhere too. It doesn't have to be Puerto Rico. So hopefully you found this video useful. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Like and subscribe, and put comments in there. Let me know how I can do better. Always trying to improve. So thanks very much for watching. See you next time.